Commander Sarah Chen stood in the observation dome of Outpost Theta, her reflection barely visible against the backdrop of endless stars. The massive structure, hidden within a fold of space-time, had served as humanity's eyes and ears for the past century. Few knew that Earth's apparent isolation was a carefully constructed facade. The holographic display before her showed hundreds of light points, each representing an alien civilization that thought themselves unobserved. The Arxos Imperium's mining fleets stripping entire asteroid belts, the Skittle Collective's biotechnology experiments, the Meridian Commonwealth's quantum communication attempts, all of them documented, analyzed, and understood by humanity's silent watchers. "Commander, we have movement in Sector 7, Lieutenant James Rodriguez reported, his cybernetic eyes scanning streams of data. The Arxos are deploying their new gravitic weapons against the Meridian outpost, exactly as predicted. Sarah nodded, maintaining her composure despite the gravity of the situation. Humanity had spent generations developing technologies that worked on principles the other species hadn't even theorized yet. While they fought with gravitic weapons and plasma cannons, Earth's scientists had learned to manipulate the fabric of reality itself. The door whispered open, admitting Director Helena Wong of the Terran Intelligence Division. "The Council wants confirmation," she announced without preamble. "Did we record the weapon's signature?" "Every frequency, every fluctuation," Sarah confirmed, gesturing at the quantum display. "The Arxos weapons operate exactly as our simulations predicted. They're devastating against conventional defenses, but useless against our phase shift technology," Helena finished. "Good. That's the third confirmation we needed." She paused, studying the stellar map. "It's time, Sarah. The Council has voted." Sarah felt her heart rate increase slightly, her neural implants automatically adjusting her biochemistry to maintain optimal focus. "They're actually going forward with the Revelation Protocol. We can't wait any longer. The Arxos Meridian conflict is spreading. If we don't intervene now, the damage to the galaxy's economic and social structures will take centuries to repair." Helena's voice carried the weight of decades of preparation. Humanity has watched from the shadows long enough. Sarah turned to her command staff, each member handpicked for this moment. "Initialize Protocol Dawn. All stations, prepare for phase shift. We're about to remind the galaxy why the ancient texts speak of humans with such fear." Across the outpost, systems that had remained dormant for decades hummed to life. The quantum core, a marvel of engineering that existed partially in 11 dimensions, began its activation sequence. Similar preparations were occurring at every hidden human outpost throughout the galaxy. "Message from Earth Command," Rodriguez announced. "Operation parameters confirmed. We are to reveal ourselves to the Arxos fleet in Sector 7 within the next solar day. Rules of engagement are interesting." "Let me guess," Sarah smiled slightly. "Shock and awe, but no casualties." Helena nodded. "Precisely. We need to demonstrate our capabilities without appearing hostile. The Council believes that a measured display of technological superiority will be sufficient to force a diplomatic solution." Sarah walked to the tactical display, studying the Arxos fleet positions. Their ships, impressive by conventional standards, appeared primitive compared to what humanity had achieved. The real challenge would be revealing their presence without triggering a panic that could lead to unnecessary violence. "Begin the countdown," she ordered. "Quantum cores to full power. Shift our phase variance just enough to allow limited sensor contact. Let's give them a ghost to chase before we show ourselves completely." As the orders spread through the neural network linking all human operations, Sarah reflected on the irony of their situation. Humanity had hidden its true nature not out of fear, but out of a desire to understand, to learn, to prepare. They had watched countless civilizations rise and fall, fought their wars with increasingly powerful weapons, while Earth quietly mastered forces they couldn't comprehend. "First phase shift in 3 minutes," Rodriguez announced. "All systems nominal. The Arxos fleet remains unaware of our presence." Sarah straightened her uniform. a gesture unchanged despite centuries of technological advancement. Send word to all outposts. Operation Dawn is now active. Show them what humanity has become. The time for washing was over. Now it was time to act. Admiral Kraz of the Arxos Imperium prided himself on being unshakable. In 3 centuries of military service, he had faced down Meridian dreadnoughts, survived Skittle bioweapons, and outmaneuvered countless adversaries. But nothing in his experience had prepared him for what his sensors were showing. "Impossible," he muttered, his scaled hands gripping the command chair. "Run the scan again." "Third confirmation, Admiral," his science officer reported, mandibles clicking with agitation. "The anomaly is real. Something is facing into existence directly ahead of our fleet." The tactical display showed a distortion in space, like reality itself was being gently pushed aside. As they watched, a structure began to materialize, a massive installation that dwarfed even the Arxos capital ships. Its surface seemed to ripple and flow, as if it couldn't quite decide which dimension it wanted to exist in. "Energy readings are..." "Sir, the readings don't make sense. It's as if the structure is drawing power from somewhere outside our universe." The science officer's scales had paled to a sickly green. "Wait, we're being hailed." The communication came through on all frequencies simultaneously, perfectly translated into Arxos standard. The figure that appeared on the main display was surprisingly similar to a Meridian, but with darker coloring and strange clothing that seemed to shift subtly even as they watched. "Greetings, Admiral Kraz. I am Commander Sarah Chen of the Terran Defense Force. We apologize for our abrupt appearance, but recent events have forced us to abandon our policy of non-intervention." Kraz's combat instincts screamed warnings. The universal translation, the casual use of his name, the impossible technology. Everything about this situation violated known laws of physics and standard first contact protocols. "Terran. There are no registered spacefaring civilizations in the Terran sector." "That's because we chose not to register," Sarah replied with what appeared to be a smile. "Humanity has been watching, learning, and preparing for this moment for centuries. Your conflict with the Meridian Commonwealth threatens the stability of this entire sector. We're here to prevent that." Kraz's tactical officer interrupted. "Admiral." Multiple signatures appearing throughout the fleet. They're moving through our ships." Sure enough, smaller craft were simply phasing through the Arxos vessels as if solid matter meant nothing to them. Each was barely the size of a scout ship, but radiated energy readings that suggested power sources beyond anything in the known galaxy. "A demonstration," Sarah explained calmly. "Your gravitic weapons, impressive as they are, operate on principles we mastered and moved beyond generations ago. What you're seeing is a small fraction of our capability. We'd prefer not to show more." Kraz felt his training kick in, pushing aside the shock and fear. "You threaten the Arxos Imperium. Our fleet is already contained," Sarah interrupted. "Please observe." At her words, Kraz noticed something that turned his blood to ice. The stars had changed. Where moments ago he had been looking at familiar constellations, now an entirely different section of space surrounded them. "We've moved your entire fleet approximately 2,000 light-years from your previous position," Sarah explained. "Don't worry, we can return you just as easily. Consider this a demonstration of why further aggression would be unwise." "Impossible," Kraz whispered again, but with less conviction. "The power requirements alone are considerable," Sarah agreed, "but well within our capabilities. Humanity chose a different path of technological development. While other species focused on harnessing the forces within this universe, we learned to step between universes, to draw power from dimensions you haven't discovered yet." The tactical display showed more human vessels appearing, each moving with impossible grace, completely ignoring the laws of physics as the Arxos understood them. They danced between dimensions, leaving phantom images in their wake, a ballet of technology so advanced it might as well have been magic. "Your conflict with the Meridians ends now," Sarah stated firmly. "We will provide you with coordinates for a neutral meeting ground where peace talks will begin within 3 standard days. Both sides will attend, or we will be forced to demonstrate more of our capabilities." Kraz, veteran of 1,000 battles, hero of the Arxos Imperium, felt something he hadn't experienced since his hatching days. Absolute, primal fear. Because in the human's voice, he heard not threat but certainty. Not aggression but simple fact. "And if we refuse?" he asked, knowing the answer but needing to hear it. "Then we stop being gentle," Sarah replied, her smile never wavering. "What you've seen today is how we choose to appear when we're trying to be diplomatic. Trust me, Admiral, you don't want to see us when we're actually trying to be intimidating." As if to emphasize her point, one of the human vessels passed through his flagship's bridge, its passage leaving no trace except a momentary sensation of existing in multiple places at once. The message was clear. Physical barriers meant nothing to them. Traditional defenses were useless. The age of Arxos dominance was over. A new power had revealed itself, and the galaxy would never be the same. Dr. Maya Patel floated in the crystalline chamber at the heart of Earth's neural command. Her consciousness expanded far beyond her physical form. Through the vast network that humanity had built, she simultaneously experienced data streams from thousands of nodes across the galaxy. Every human outpost, every cloaked vessel, every quantum sensor fed information directly into the collective. "They're mobilizing," she thought spoke into the network. Her words rippled through the quantum-entangled consciousness of every human operator in the galaxy. The Skittle have joined the Arxos. Combined fleet movements suggest they're preparing for a major offensive. In the physical world, her body remained suspended in the neural interface fluid, but her mind danced through the stars. She felt Director Helena Wong's presence join her in the virtual space, their consciousness merging in the way that had become natural for humanity's neural operators. "Show me," Helena commanded, and Maya guided their shared awareness to a cluster of systems near the galactic core. Through their quantum sensors, they watched as the bioorganic ships of the Skittle merged with the Arxos battle fleet. Two of the galaxy's most powerful civilizations, united by fear of the unknown force that had appeared in their midst. "They still don't understand what they're facing," Maya observed. "They think we're just another advanced civilization with better technology. They haven't grasped that we've evolved beyond their conception of warfare entirely." Through the neural network, they sensed Commander Sarah Chen's acknowledgement from her position near the Arxos fleet. Her consciousness carried the calm certainty of someone who had trained for this moment for decades. "The Meridians are responding as predicted. Their fear of the Arxos-Skittle alliance outweighs their fear of us. They're requesting protection." Maya felt the ripple of satisfaction flow through the network as hundreds of human operators absorbed and processed this information simultaneously. The plan was proceeding exactly as their simulations had suggested. The galaxy was reorganizing itself in response to humanity's revelation, forming new alliances, breaking old ones. "Incoming transmission from the Skittle hive mind," another operator announced, their thoughts carrying the complex data stream to everyone connected to the network. The message was typical of the organic technology species, a complex blend of chemical signatures, neural patterns, and quantum states that they believed impossible to intercept or decrypt. Maya allowed herself a moment of amusement as she effortlessly translated the transmission. The Skittle, for all their biological advancement, still thought in linear patterns. They hadn't discovered that consciousness itself could be used as a quantum computer. That thought could transcend the barriers of space and time. "They're proposing a joint strike," she reported, sharing the decoded message through the network. The Skittle believe their organic technology, combined with Arxos gravitics, might be able to match our phase-shifting capabilities. Helena's consciousness pulsed with something close to pity. "They're still thinking in terms of conventional warfare. Show them why that's a mistake." Maya reached out through the network, connecting with every human operator in range. Together, their merged consciousness accessed the quantum cores that powered their technology. Reality itself seemed to shiver as they exerted their will upon it. In an instant, every Skittle bioship found its organic computer systems merged with the human neural network. Their crews experienced, for just a moment, the vast ocean of human consciousness that spanned the galaxy. The effect lasted less than a second, but it was enough to send the organic vessels into chaos as their crews reeled from the contact. A taste of what we've become. Maya broadcast on all frequencies, her thoughts automatically translated into forms each species could comprehend. Your organic technology is impressive, but we merged with our machines centuries ago. We don't just use neural networks. We are the network. Through the quantum sensors, she watched the Skittle ships struggle to maintain coherence. Their organic technology, designed to mimic neural processes, had been overwhelmed by contact with actual merged consciousness. The Arxos vessels hung back, their crews trying to understand what they had just witnessed. The Meridian representatives are ready for the peace conference, Sarah reported through the network. And unless I miss my guess, the Arxos and Skittle will be much more receptive to negotiations now. Maya felt the approval of countless human minds flow through the network. They had revealed another facet of their capability without causing any lasting harm. The galaxy was learning, step by step, that humanity's power wasn't just technological, it was evolutionary. Prepare for Phase 2, Helena commanded, her thoughts reaching every human operator simultaneously. It's time to show them why we chose to stay hidden for so long. Not out of fear, but out of compassion. The neural network hummed with shared purpose as humanity prepared to reshape the galaxy's understanding of what was possible. They had evolved beyond the need for weapons, beyond the constraints of physical form. Now they just had to help the galaxy understand why that made them more, not less, dangerous. High Admiral Vexterra of the Skittle Hivemind writhed in frustration as her organic command vessel processed the latest sensor data. Around her, the combined might of 3 galactic civilizations had gathered, the largest fleet ever assembled in known space. Over 10,000 ships, representing the ultimate achievement of multiple species' military technology. And yet, she felt like a primitive wielding stone tools against a force of nature. The humans have made no attempt to intercept our gathering, her tactical consciousness reported through the ship's neural pathways. Their vessels remain in their previous positions, phasing in and out of our reality at random intervals. They're mocking us, growled Admiral Kraz from the Arxos command ship, showing us they don't consider our fleet worthy of a response. The Meridian representative, who had reluctantly joined their alliance after the humans' latest demonstration, spoke up. Or perhaps they're giving us a chance to reconsider this course of action. The peace conference offer still stands. Vexterra's outer membrane rippled with barely contained rage. The humans' casual display of technological superiority had shaken the Hivemind's confidence in its own evolution. Their organic technology, once thought to be the pinnacle of biological advancement, seemed primitive compared to humanity's seamless fusion of consciousness and machine. "Deploy the resonance weapon," she commanded. The order spread through the fleet like a virus, each ship acknowledging with varying degrees of enthusiasm or dread. The resonance weapon represented the combined genius of 3 civilizations: Arxos gravitic technology, Skittle organic computing, and Meridian quantum theory. In theory, it would disrupt the phase variance the humans use to shift between dimensions, forcing them to remain in normal space where conventional weapons could affect them. Target locked on the human command station, Kraz reported. Energy readings at maximum. Firing in 3, 2, 1. The weapon discharge, a combination of gravitic forces and quantum disruption that should have torn apart the fabric of space itself. The energy beam, visible as a distortion in reality, struck the human station dead center and passed through it without effect. Impossible, Kraz roared. The calculations were perfect. The weapon should have worked according to your understanding of physics, a calm voice interrupted, broadcasting simultaneously through every ship in the fleet. Commander Sarah Chen's image appeared on all their displays, her expression almost sympathetic. But you're trying to disrupt a technology that operates on principles you haven't discovered yet. Vexterra felt her organic ship shudder as new sensor readings poured in. Human vessels were appearing throughout the fleet, passing through their most powerful shields as if they weren't there. But instead of attacking, they simply existed, their presence a reminder of how helpless the assembled armada truly was. "Let me show you why your weapon failed," Sarah continued. The space around the fleet suddenly shifted, and every ship found itself inside what appeared to be a vast sphere of energy. "You're seeing one of our basic training facilities. This entire volume of space exists in a quantum bubble outside normal spacetime. We created it centuries ago to safely test our early phase shift technology." The implications hit Vexterra like a physical blow. The humans hadn't just mastered dimensional shifting. They could create and manipulate pockets of space itself. Their entire fleet, the mightiest gathering of military power in galactic history, had been moved across thousands of light years in an instant. "The resonance weapon was an impressive attempt," Sarah acknowledged. "But you're trying to prevent us from shifting between dimensions by using forces that only exist in this dimension. It's like trying to stop a spaceship by throwing rocks at it." Through her ship's organic sensors, Vexterra detected something that turned her internal fluids to ice. The human vessels weren't just phase shifting anymore. They were somehow existing in multiple states simultaneously, their forms blurring as they occupied several points in space and time at once. "This is your final warning." Sarah's voice carried no threat, only certainty. "The peace conference begins in 12 hours. Either attend and help us build a stable galaxy, or force us to demonstrate why we hid our true capabilities for so long." "And if we refuse?" Kraz demanded, though his voice lacked conviction. "Then we stop being diplomatic," Sarah replied. As if to emphasize her point, every human ship suddenly shifted, their forms becoming clearer, more solid, more real. "What you've seen until now has been humanity operating under self-imposed restrictions. Trust me, you don't want to see what happens when we remove those restrictions." The message was clear. The combined fleet, for all its power, wasn't even facing humanity's true military capability. They had been fighting shadows while the real threat remained hidden, watching, waiting to see if violence would be necessary. Vexterra, Supreme Commander of the most advanced biological ships ever created, made the only decision she could. "Stand down all weapons," she ordered, her thoughts spreading through the fleet. "Prepare for peace negotiations." As the mighty armada powered down its weapons, she couldn't shake the feeling that this had been humanity's plan all along. They hadn't revealed themselves out of fear or necessity, but because they had finally decided the galaxy was ready to learn what humanity had become. The peace conference chamber aboard humanity's Nexus station defied conventional understanding. The room itself seemed to shift and flow, adapting to the comfort needs of each species present. For the Arxos, areas of high gravity and warmth. For the Skittle, pools of nutrient-rich fluid. For the Meridians, crystalline structures that resonated with their natural frequencies. Dr. Maya Patel stood at the center of it all, her form flickering slightly as she maintained simultaneous existence in multiple dimensional states. Around her, the representatives of the galaxy's most powerful civilizations waited with a mixture of fear and anticipation. "You've demonstrated your technological superiority," High Admiral Vexterra acknowledged, her organic form pulsing with complex emotions. "But you haven't explained why. Why hide for centuries only to reveal yourselves now?" Maya smiled, her expression visible to each species in a way that made sense to their perceptual framework. "Because you weren't ready to understand what humanity had become. Even now, you think this is about technology." She gestured, and the chamber's walls became transparent, revealing the structure of the station itself. But what the assembled representatives saw wasn't technology in any conventional sense. The station was alive, not in the organic way of Skittle ships, but in a fundamental way that suggested consciousness itself had been woven into its structure. Humanity hasn't just advanced technologically, Maya explained. We've evolved, not through natural selection or genetic engineering, but through conscious direction of our own development. We learned to exist in multiple states simultaneously, to merge our consciousness with our machines, to step outside the normal flow of time and space. Commander Sarah Chen appeared beside her, shifting into existence without any transition. What you've seen of our capabilities isn't technology that can be replicated or stolen. It's an expression of what we've become. The chamber filled with holographic displays showing human history, not the false version they had presented to the galaxy, but the true path of their evolution. The gathered representatives watched in stunned silence as humanity transformed itself, generation by generation, until they became something that straddled the boundary between matter and energy, between consciousness and reality. Your resonance weapon failed, Maya continued, because it was designed to affect technology. But our phase shifting isn't achieved through devices. It's an inherent capability of our evolved form. We exist partially outside conventional spacetime, because we chose to become creatures who could do so. Impossible, the Meridian representative whispered. No species can direct its own evolution to that degree. Impossible according to your understanding, Sarah corrected gently. But we discovered something centuries ago that changed everything. Consciousness isn't just an emergent property of complex systems. It's a fundamental force of the universe, as basic as gravity or electromagnetism. Once we understood that, we could use it to reshape ourselves. Maya raised her hand, and a small portion of space in the center of the chamber began to crystallize into pure thought. This is why we're revealing ourselves now. The galaxy stands at a crossroads. Continue down the path of conflict and competition, or join us in exploring what consciousness can truly become. Join you. Vexterra's internal fluid swirled with confusion. You mean, submit to your rule? No, Maya smiled. We mean exactly what we say. Join us. We've spent centuries preparing to guide other species through the same transformation we underwent, not through conquest or force, but through teaching and cooperation. The chamber filled with new images, projections of how each species could evolve, guided by humanity's understanding. The Scatel's organic technology merging with pure consciousness, the Arxos transcending their physical forms while maintaining their warrior spirit, the Meridians achieving the unity with the quantum realm they had always sought. This is our true purpose, Sarah explained, not to rule the galaxy, but to help it evolve. We hid ourselves not out of fear, but because premature exposure to these concepts could have destroyed younger civilizations. We waited until you were ready to understand. And if we refuse? Kraz asked, but his voice held more curiosity than defiance. Then you continue on your current path, Maya replied simply. We won't force evolution upon anyone. But know that what you've seen of us, our ships, our technology, our capabilities, that's only the beginning. We are no longer bound by the conventional laws of physics because we chose to become something more than conventional beings. The chamber fell silent as the representatives absorbed this revelation. Humanity hadn't emerged as a new political or military power. They had appeared as harbingers of the next stage of galactic evolution. The choice is yours, Sarah concluded. Continue fighting over resources and territory that become meaningless once you transcend conventional existence, or join us in exploring what consciousness can truly become. We've prepared for centuries to guide you. All you have to do is choose to begin. As the representatives began their discussions, Maya shared a knowing look with Sarah. Through their merged consciousness, they sensed the quantum ripples of change spreading through the galaxy. The age of conventional warfare was ending. The age of conscious evolution was about to begin. Humanity's greatest achievement hadn't been hiding their capabilities from the galaxy. It had been preparing to share them when the time was right.